Alright, so good to be back. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Setson. In today's video, we're going to look at Laravel CRUD for beginners. Alright, so let's look at what is CRUD and what is Laravel. So CRUD is an acronym to the 4 basic operations that you can perform on a database. So C is for create, R is for read, U is for update, and then the D is for deleting the data. Alright, so so Laravel is a popular open source PHP framework used for web application development. So it's similar to frameworks like Django for Python or Ruby on Rails. Why Laravel? Well, Laravel is robust and easy to understand. It also saves a lot of time if you're planning to develop a website from scratch. A website built in Laravel is secure and prevents several web attacks. And so you should consider all these advantages and go with Laravel for your web application development. Let's look at objectives of this lesson. We're going to learn the Laravel basics. We're also going to learn CRUD operations. We're going to learn the Blade templating language, learn the MVC architecture, and then we're going to learn how to use PHP in a practical sense. What you should already know, some PHP and some HTML. We're going to need XAMPP. We're also going to need a text editor. We're also going to need Composer, and we're also going to need Laravel. All right, so let's take a look at these required tools one by one. So first up is XAMPP. What is XAMPP? XAMPP is a software stack that allows developers to easily test their web applications locally. Locally means on their computer. At each letter in XAMPP. So X stands for cross-platform. The software works on multiple platforms like Windows, Linux, and macOS. A is for Apache. Apache is a popular open source web server software. And then we have M for MariaDB, which is a database server. Originally, it was MySQL, so you can use MySQL or MariaDB. And then the first P is for PHP, which is going to be the language that we're going to be using. So it's a server-side scripting language used for web development. And then Perl. Perl is a high-level general-purpose programming language. All right, so for us to install XAMPP on our computers, if you already have XAMPP installed on your computer, you can skip and move on to the next part of this tutorial. But for those who do not have XAMPP already installed on their computers, this is how you install XAMPP on your computer. And click on this link right here. And we want to go to this website. So it's Apache Friends. So www.apachefriends.org. And so I'm going to click on this link. It will take me to this web page right here. And so you can see we can download XAMPP for Windows, XAMPP for Linux, or XAMPP for macOS. And so depending on the platform that you're on, you can download one of these installers. I recommend that you download the latest version of XAMPP. By the time of recording this video, the latest version is 8.2.12. You could also have access to that web page by searching for XAMPP download right here. So if you search for XAMPP download, you can check out this link right here, Apache Friends, and then you can click on that. It will take you to the same website, and you go ahead and download one of these installers. And once you finish, then we can go through the step-by-step installation process. I am going to go to where my XAMPP installer has been downloaded to. It's inside my software downloads right here. You can see right here. To install XAMPP, we can double click on the installer. I'm going to double click on the installer, and then this window pops up. You click on yes, and then again click on yes right here, and then okay, and then this will pop up, and then click on next, leave as default, and then click on next. And then this is the path to where XAMPP is going to be installed. I don't want it to be installed in the C drive. I want it in the D drive, but you might leave it as it is right here. I'm going to go to my D drive because that's where I want my XAMPP installed. And then here I have to say XAMPP as well right here. The name of the folder where XAMPP is going to be installed is called XAMPP. I have to specify it right here because I changed the path. All right, so click on next, and then here the language English, click on next, and then here setup is now ready to begin installing XAMPP on your computer. Click next. Alright, so it looks like we've finished installing XAMPP. It says completing the XAMPP setup, and so we have to click finish right here. Click on finish, and then it's going to pop up this control panel. Alright, so this is our XAMPP control panel, which shows we successfully installed XAMPP on our computers. Alright, so we can start any one of these services. So I want to test whether these services are working. And so let's start with Apache. And so click on that. You can see Apache is now running, apparently. And so you can see by this green background here on the word Apache, this button is now showing stop instead of start. That means we are running Apache. If you want to confirm, you can click on admin, and then it will take you to this web page right here. We also want to test MySQL. Click on start. you can see we have a problem right here. It says error, MySQL shut down unexpectedly. This may be due to a blocked port, missing dependencies, improper privileges, a crash, or whatever. This could be as a result of quite a number of reasons, but let's try this blocked port and see whether this could be the problem. Right, so what we can do is we go into our config. So MySQL config, click on config, and then you can see there is my.ini. Click on that, and then it will open in Notepad by default. And so we're going to change this port number right here and also this port number. So I'm going to change that to 3307 as well as right here 3307. And then once I change that, I'm going to save that and I'll minimize this. And once again, try and run this. Now you can see MySQL is not running. If for some reason your Apache and MySQL is not running, then you have to try and run XAMPP as an administrator. So you open XAMPP, you go to XAMPP, right click on XAMPP and say run as administrator right here. All right, so with this done, we know our XAMPP is running and we are good to go. What I'm going to do is for now, I'm going to stop all these services and I'm going to minimize this. Now we want to move on to the next one. The next one is quite easy. It's a text editor. You have a number of options. A text editor is just a type of program used for editing plain text files. So in the context of programming, text editors provide developers with an interface to write and edit code. They often come with a number of features. These include syntax highlighting, line numbering, and indentation, etc. And this makes the process of writing code easier and more efficient. And so examples of text editors include Notepad, Sublime Text, Atom, and Visual Studio Code. And so the one that I recommend in this tutorial is Visual Studio Code. And for you to download Visual Studio Code, you have to go to this link right here, visit this website. So code.visualstudio.com. I'll click on this link. It will take me to this web page right here. Or you could just go to the browser and you just search for VS Code download right here. Click on that and then you go to this link right here. Download Visual Studio Code, click on that and this web page will open. It's the same as the one that we opened right here. And so what we want to do is you want to download any one of these installers. So depending on the platform that you're on, Windows, Linux or Mac OS, go ahead and download and then you run the installation. It's quite straightforward, quite easy. The next two that we want to install on our computers is a tool called Composer. So what is Composer? So Composer is a tool for dependency management in PHP. So just like we have npm for Node, pip for Python, we have Composer for PHP. It allows you to declare libraries your project depends on and it will manage those libraries for you. So it will install and update those libraries. In the context of Laravel, Composer is used to manage all its dependencies when you create a new Laravel project. So Composer is used to download all the packages and libraries that Laravel depends on. So to download Composer, we yet again have to visit this website right here. So we click on this link, getcomposer.org. So I'm going to click on that. It will take me to this web page right here. You could also access it by going to your search engine right here and write Composer download. You have to go to this link right here, download Composer, click on that and it will take you to the same page as this one. I'm on a Windows computer and so I can see there's a Windows installer right here and I can go ahead and click this to download. I already have it on my computer, so I don't need to click on this to download it, but you can go ahead and click and download this. It won't take long and then you're good to go. Once you have that installer downloaded, double click on that, select the first one which says install for all users. Click on that, click yes and next. This is the path to your PHP. It's automatically detected here, but if it's not automatically detected, you have to find where your XAMPP folder is and then find the PHP folder and then select the PHP executable and then click on next and install. All right, click on next again and then finish. All right, so yeah, we have successfully installed Composer. To test whether you successfully installed Composer, you just go to your terminal right here. My terminal is right here, and then in here you want to type Composer capital letter V and run that. You can see we have a version of Composer is 2.7.3 and the PHP version which is 8.2.12. Composer is the pre-requirement for installing Laravel. Laravel is a popular open source PHP framework, like I said earlier on, used for web application development. It follows the MVC architectural pattern. So it provides an expressive, elegant syntax and is designed for developers who need a simple and elegant toolkit to create full featured web applications. Laravel has tools for routing, authentication, sessions, caching, and more, making it easier for developers to start and maintain their workflow. So for us to install Laravel, we have to visit this link right here. It will take us to this Laravel website. Or you could just search for Laravel right here and click on Laravel right here, and this first link, click on that link, and of course it will take you to this web page, and then click on documentation, and then you have it here right here. So you can see right here, you can click on this drop down, you can see the different versions. All right, so we want to go with the latest version, which is 11x. All right, so we want to check out how we can install Laravel, and so we want to rely on the documentation, which is a guide to how you're supposed to use Laravel. All right, so right here you can see we need Composer, of which we have Composer already installed on our computers, and it says Composer create project, and then Laravel / and then the name of our application. I'm going to copy this command right here, and so we want to use it in our terminal. So what I'm going to do is all of my projects, I am going to place them inside the XAMPP folder, which is a good standard practice. So we need to locate our XAMPP folder. Mine is in the D drive, yours could be in the C drive. So you see this XAMPP folder right here. Go to htdocs, double click to open, and this is where you want to place your projects right here. So you can have multiple Laravel projects. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my project right here. So I want to open this in the terminal. So once I open that in the terminal, you can see the path here says I'm in my D, in my XAMPP, in my htdocs. All right, so I want to paste that command, which is Composer create project and then Laravel /Laravel. However, my application is not going to be called example app. It's going to be called CRUD-app. Let's try and run. I'm not too sure if this is going to work. There is an error which usually happen when you try and run it like this, but it's okay. We'll then learn from there how to fix that error. If I run this, yes. So you can see it says failed to download Laravel from disk. The reason is because the zip extension commands are both missing. So it's coming from the D drive, XAMPP, PHP, and php.ini. And so we need to go into this file and then uncomment the extension zip directive, which is commented out. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to locate this file. From here, I'm going to go into PHP, which is that one, and then locate this file, php.ini. I'm going to right click and then I'm going to edit in Notepad, and the directive that I'm looking for, so I'm going to press Ctrl F, extension equals zip, and then look for that. You can see this line right here, and what we want to do is we want to remove that colon, which is a comment in this file, and we have uncommented this, and we're going to Ctrl S to save that. And once we have that saved, I'm going to go back. Let me see. I'm going to go back into my htdocs, right? Even though we failed to download Laravel, but we had created a folder called CRUD app, and so we want to get rid of this and then start afresh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that folder here and then go back to my terminal right here. I'm going to clear everything, and now I can rerun that command right now. So if I hit on enter now, because we uncommented that line and Laravel is going to install, you can see right here we no longer have that error showing up. We have successfully installed Laravel right here. So I'm going to clear right here, and what I'm going to do is I want to ls to see what is here. So you can see we have our CRUD app right here. So we want to cd into that CRUD app. Once we are inside here, we want to open this in VS Code, and so I'm going to say code space dot, which means open Visual Studio Code in the current directory, and so this will open Visual Studio Code. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this terminal right here, and I'm also going to close this terminal right here because we no longer need that. Visual Studio Code comes with its own inbuilt terminal, and so that's the one that we're going to be using. So I'm going to close this welcome, and you can see all these files that have been auto-generated for us. We want to run our project and see whether it's working, and so for us to do that, we need some kind of a command. So how to run commands in Laravel? So the command line interface used in Laravel is called artisan. So we're going to use the artisan to run our commands in Laravel. So it includes a set of commands which assists in building a web application application. One of those commands is running the server so that you can check your web application in the browser. So we need to run this command PHP artisan serve, which serves your Laravel application on the PHP development server. So to do this, look for terminal right up here, new terminal, and inside here we're going to run PHP artisan serve to serve. And then if I run this, you can see it says server running on this local host 8000. This is the port 8000. So I'm going to follow this link. If I click on this link, you can see our Laravel applications running. So this is the default page that comes with the Laravel application when you first install it. And so we can see we have successfully installed Laravel. You can see right here it says we have installed version 11.4 and the PHP version 8 is the one that is running. And you can see we are here on the local host port 8000. All right, so we have everything in place. Everything is working and we are good to go. All right, so in our next tutorial, we're going to look at what is the MVC architecture. Obviously, we're going to look at the Laravel MVC architecture and see how all this comes together to create a functional web application. So with that, we have come to the end of this tutorial. If you find this helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, and I hope to see you in my next tutorial. For now, I'm out. Bye bye.